are back. How exciting. Our scholarship recipients, our music to keep us energized, our prizes. And so now we come to an opportunity to hear our keynote speaker. But prior to that, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors. They have supported our vision, our mission throughout the year. Our title sponsor, Possible Missions, our power level sponsors, Hydro, Prince, Goya Foods, American Securities, and Commercial Metal Company. But also a big shout out to our silver level members here. They are great sponsors. They give in kind. They give their hearts. They really give at a really special level. So we have Snapper Jack, BBVA, Bunker 58, Centerpoint Energy, Yo Soy I Am, DJ Caribe Beat, and also the Sanchez Sisters Creations. But a big shout out to the amazing Maria Duran and Duran Concepts. So thank you for being our sponsors for the second annual Power on Hills Conference and Scholarship Awards. Now, let's get to our closing portion. You guys are in for a treat. Excuse me. Rewind, reboot. Ladies, you are in for a treat. This is so important. This is a big part. I cannot wait to bring this amazing lady to you. But prior to that, I need to introduce you to someone you all need to know. She's here in Houston. I met her, about 8 years ago, and we became instant friends, and she thinks I'm pretty funny. So I keep her around because she laughs and I laugh, and it's important to be able to share joy together, right? But I love for you to meet the wonderful, this dynamic Latina, this powerful Latina, Imelda Torres Laborde. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Imelda so you'll know who she is. Imelda Torres Laborde is the Vice President of Human Resources at Prince. In her role, she is responsible for strategies and tactical execution of the overall HR function for this global community. Imelda has over 20 years experience in organizational leadership and human resources. Prior to joining Prince, she worked for over 10 years with Alcoa Incorporated. She's actively involved in promoting inclusion and diversity strategies within the company with solutions, training, tools, and resources to foster and implement I&D. This strategic, thoughtful leader is committed to cultivating a more diverse workforce and inclusive work environment. She has also been an active supporter of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers since 2013. And in 2016, Imelda led the creation of the Hispanic Resource Group which has over 500 members nationwide. And one thing that you need to know about the amazing, powerful Imelda is she currently is the president of Power on Heels Fund Incorporated. So Imelda, welcome to the stage, and can't wait for you to introduce our speaker.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited. The entire conference has been exciting, and I've learned so much, and I'm inspired, I'm sure, as everyone else. But let me give you a little bit of background on Cenia Paredes, our keynote speaker. And it's hard not to read because you want to make sure we capture absolutely everything. But Cenia grew up in a family completely dedicated to dressmaking in her native República Dominicana. From an early age, she worked closely with her mother, doing things such as sketches, fittings, choosing fabrics. And of course, by age 11, she was immersed right in the family business. And how lucky is she to have grown up knowing exactly what she was passionate about. Many of us obviously learn that as we go through life. At age 20, I will continue to tell you that Cenia immigrated to the US and she graduated in 2004, summa cum laude, from the prestigious Fashion Institute of Technology. And she spent quite a bit of time working in New York's fashion district, which, you guys can imagine is very, very competitive, but always, always held on to her dream, right? And that is definitely something that you have seen throughout the conference. Don't let go of your dreams. Don't let go of that little voice that you have inside of you. So Cenia didn't, she always held on to her dream of designing her own line, her own label. In 2009, Cenia launched her first ready-to-wear collection, Cenia New York, a line of day into evening dresses, which was a hit. And it was a hit because imagine this, Cenia was actually paying attention to what we women wanted, right? Our body type, somebody who understood what we were looking for and how comfortable we wanted to feel. So she was really onto something, right? She was really one of the first and only designers in fashion history to implement this concept. Again, imagine that designing or being, designed for someone who actually sees us for who we are, right? Our sassiness, our curves, our self confidence. And thanks to Cenia, we can dress tastefully, we can dress sexy, and be radiant no matter our body type, right? In 2011, Cenia was chosen among 900 companies and one of the 22 participants of the workshop at Macy's, and was one of 4 vendors chosen, right, to really launch her product in selected stores. And again, this is just one of her accomplishments that I want to make sure that you get a sense of, right, before she comes on and talks to us, right? So her journey, it continues, right, as do her successes. In 2016, she was one of the design entrepreneurs chosen from, over 200 applicants to participate in the Mini Fashion Business MBA. And as participating, not only did she teach, but she was really a mentor and she was a speaker. And one of the biggest opportunities, obviously, is for her to share her journey. And in sharing her journey, inspiring others to continue and learn and not let go of that dream that they have. So Cenia's dresses have been sold on the Home Shopping Network. In 2019, she was one of the winners of the Big Find, a reality competition launched by QVC and HSN. And it really propelled Cenia to launch her patent pending Cenia Convi jeans on HSN in the spring of 2020. Right. So why is this important? Because again, right, she held on to it. She's moving forward, and she's teaching all of us and what she does every day, the importance of it. Um, Cenia has been featured in major media such as The Today Show, CNN, Telemundo, Univision, The Style Network, and her dresses, right? Her dresses, have been worn by important people. Lin-Manuel Miranda, his wife and his mom, not by Lin-Manuel Miranda, his wife and his mom. Um, and also by Gloria Estefan, by Dasha Polanco, who was an actress in the series Orange is the New Black. And why do I mention this right before she comes on? Because we have to be visible and we have to support ourselves. And again, you've heard that throughout the conference, right? So yes, she's not just being seen in Telemundo and in Univision, but she's being seen throughout many networks, and continue to provide each other and provide her support. But with that, I'm going to transition it, and I want you to hear directly from her. So welcome, Cenia.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored and humbled to have been chosen as your keynote speaker. And I want to thank Yvette Mayo for giving me this opportunity and to Power on Heels. I want to tell you my story, and I hope that my story inspire you to pursue your dreams and aspirations. So here we go. My name is Cenia Paredes. I'm the designer and the founder of Design Alternatives NY LLC, which is the brand holder of Cenia New York and Cenia Convi Jean. My story begins in a very small village in the Dominican Republic called La Piedra de Cotuí. My mom was a single mom of 3 children, me and my 2 sisters, and had moved back to her parents' home, whom had 14 children themselves, some of which were around our own ages. My grandpa worked in the rice fields, and the money that he made was barely enough to support the huge family. But he would never have turned my mom back or any of his children. God will provide. That was his favorite quote. My mom was a self-taught seamstress, and soon started making clothes to help support us and help the family. First, she started making clothes from scratch for women in the village, and then eventually for their kids and even their husbands. I remember many times she was sewing overnight during the holidays. I remember sitting by her side every day and watch her cut fabrics and put beautiful dresses together while I asked her tons of questions. Being the very curious and imaginative girl that I was, I soon started to imagine my own creations for my mom's clients. And I started to sketch them out on pages that I would rip out of my notebook from school. No one ever taught me how to draw, how to sketch. It came naturally to me. I became so passionate about it that it became my favorite hobby. Having very and I actually imagined stories where my clients would wear my dresses and I would draw them out as well. Having very little access to the city and the outside world, my only window to the world out of my village were the Mexican novelas that we used to watch on the TV at my neighbor's house because we didn't even have a TV. I didn't even know that being a fashion designer was a career at the time until one day when my aunt came to visit from the city. She looked at all my sketches and exclaimed, Cenia, you're going to be a fashion designer when you grow up, like Oscar de la Renta. She told me who Oscar was and his huge international success, and that he sold his clothes to stores and dress celebrity. She then pulled the magazine from her purse and showed me photographs of one of his runway shows. I was 8 years old at the time. And from that day on, I decided that I wanted to be a fashion designer when I grew up. Now, I had a big dream, a dream that seemed impossible, being in the middle of nowhere, where I had to walk 2 kilometers to the nearest school, and based on my circumstances. But my mom was always one to push us to excel in school and instilled in us the love for education and the notion that no dream was too big, that we could achieve anything that we put in our minds if we worked hard, believed in ourselves, and believed that it was possible. She told us she knew in her heart that we were going to get far in life. I knew I didn't want to end up like most girls in my village who started families at a very young age, sometimes under the age of 15. I knew I wanted to have a career and develop my full potential. So I decided I was going to be the very best at whatever I set out to do. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I was very studious and I knew that education was my only hope. I skipped forward a few years and I was already in high school and number one in my class. My goal was to obtain a scholarship to attend the fashion design school at Altos de Chabón in La Romana, a subsidiary of Parsons Design School from New York. But the unexpected happened. A guy from the USA, who was an American citizen, came to visit our village looking for a medicinal plant. He fell in love with my mom at first sight, and they got married, and he brought my mom to the USA. My mom immediately claimed us, and me and my siblings joined her 3 years later. When I arrived to America in the 1990, my idea was to take advantage of the opportunities that this great country had to offer, which I didn't have in my homeland, and to go after my dream of becoming a fashion designer. But it wasn't as easy as I expected. I had to learn the language and adapt to a new culture, but that wasn't stopping me. I immediately enrolled at my local community college and began English as a second language classes at night while I worked full time during the day at a factory, picking and packing coats. A year went by and I felt comfortable enough with my English skills to apply for a job at a retail store at the mall. I got the job and I was also accepted at my local college, New Jersey City University, where I majored in business administration. I didn't know how to get started in the fashion world, but I committed myself not to freeze, to continue to get an education and better in myself while I got there. During that time, I also met someone, fell in love, and decided to get married, but to continue with my career goals and ambitions in the meantime. I soon had our first child, Boris, and 2 years later, our little girl, Jaslyn. Meantime, I continued to work full time and go to school at night. However, things started not to work out very well in the marriage. My husband demanded that I stay home and abandon my career dreams. He became increasingly controlling and began to act violent. I was forced to escape with my 2 children and leave everything behind. I had to start from zero. We moved into an empty apartment with no furniture. and he sold out my car. But I decided I was going not to only survive, but to thrive. I worked hard, 60 to 80 hours a week. 6 months down the road, I was able to buy furniture and lease a car. It was devastating working as a retail store manager with two young kids, as I had to work nights, weekends, and holidays. That's when I decided I didn't want to stay in that situation for the rest of my life. And that if I didn't do anything about it, there was no way out. I felt stuck and that I wasn't fulfilling my purpose in life. I would sketch whenever I had a little free time, and tears would roll down my cheeks. I felt a hole in my heart. So I decided I was going to go back to college, but this time for the career of my dreams, to be a fashion designer. A friend of my mom once had mentioned to me that if I wanted a career in fashion, I had to enroll at the best school of design in New York City, the Fashion Institute of Technology, FIT. And I never forgot that name. So one day, on my day off, I hopped on the train towards the city and paid a visit with no appointment to FIT. I looked at the design exhibits that they had and the drawings that they had displayed in the hallways in awe. I was exhilarated. And I said to myself, this is where I belong. Someone guided me to the admissions office, and they were extremely nice to me. They gave me some literature about the school and explained the application process. I left in a high, full of excitement and hopes. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I asked God to give me the strength and to open doors for me. And I declared, I will do this. I will graduate from FIT, summa cum laude, and I will work in New York fashion industry one day, and I will launch my own brand under my own company. And I wrote it down that day. I sent in my application the next week, my portfolio with sketches for which I had no professional training, and some photos of the designs that I had made. And to my surprise, I was accepted. I began part time at night while I continued to work full time during the day. It was very hard on all of us. We had no life. I would spend the weekends and any free time I had during doing my school projects. Thankfully, my mom was very supportive, and was always there to help me with the kids. It took me 6 years to graduate from FIT and to obtain my BA. But on the 24th of May in 2004, I graduated summa cum laude from the prestigious Fashion Institute of Technology, just as I had declared. Thanks to my degree, I started working as an assistant designer in the competitive New York garment district. I got to work for various renowned brands such as Calvin Klein, True Religion, Outerwear, Isaac Women, and I got to work for my childhood icon and hero, Oscar de la Renta, and I got to meet him. But after 8 years of working in the industry, I realized that it was very difficult for me to climb the corporate ladder. And I didn't see any people who looked like me in the higher positions in New York fashion industry. I saw that there was a ceiling to where I could not get, to where I could get. So I decided to start my own company. I started to create my first collection on the side while I still worked full time for another company, as I still needed the security of my paycheck. And so in 2008, Cenia New York was born, a line that I felt could fill a void in the market for apparel that really understood the variations of the female body and that would flatter women no matter what size or body type. It took me a year to finally find a multi-line showroom that would rep my line. It is very difficult to build credibility with buyers as a new designer. I only sold eight dresses the first season, but I produced them and delivered them on time. Then, little by little, it started to grow. By the time I knew, I was into 25 stores and then 50. It was crazy. I spent my lunch hour going to buyers' appointments, shopping for materials, shipping orders, and making phone calls. So I realized it was time for me to quit my job. However, I spent countless nights without sleep from anxiety, worrying about taking that big risk. Many people told me I was crazy, that I needed a lot of money or a rich family or a rich boyfriend to be able to start fashion line. and I had none of those. But I felt in my heart that this was my calling, that I had to try. And so I took all my savings out of my 401k plan and I took the big leap. I was able to secure a space at a showroom one, an incubator sponsored by FIT for design entrepreneurs. From there, I was a one-man show. I designed the collection, sourced fabrics and trims, scheduled buyers' appointments, shipped orders, you name it. But the business was growing. Then I set out to conquer my next big goal, to get into department stores. Coincidentally, a friend of mine brought me a newspaper and showed me an ad by announcing the launch of the workshop at Macy's, an intensive and competitive program designed to provide training and opportunities to women and minority-owned businesses who could offer products that could appeal to their growing minority customer base. The requirements were very strict, but I felt that although it was a long shot, I met the criteria. It took me 2 months to complete the application. I sent it in the last day at the last hour. And out of 900 companies that had applied, I was one of 22 that was chosen to attend the workshop. The last day of the workshop, we had the opportunity to pitch our products to a panel of judges composed of senior management from Macy's. Out of the 22 finalists, I was one of four whom received the order and launched a selected Macy's in 2012 nationwide. When I got out of the meeting, I called my mom crying and I was pinching myself. I couldn't believe that a girl like me from La Piedra de Cotuí was now selling at Macy's, one of the most iconic department stores in the USA. I went from shipping specialty boutiques 2 seasons per year to a monthly delivery for Macy's and having to hire personnel and subcontract a number of services. I also had to move production overseas in order to be price competitive. It was a huge learning curve. The amazing opportunity had given me credibility with other retailers and put me on the map as an emerging designer. But after shipping Macy's for 3 years, they told me it was time to become a regular vendor with all the margin agreements that entails. So I decided it was more viable for my small company to take a hiatus from the department stores and go back to build my business with the specialty stores, boutiques. It was like starting from zero again. So I started to build my distribution by securing reps in Dallas and Atlanta markets. Today, I can happily say it was the right decision. And my lands are sold in more than 250 stores nationwide and internationally without the burden of the department stores' margin agreements. Last year, I accomplished another life changing milestone when I was one of the winners of the Big Find, a reality competition for designers and inventors launched by QVC HSN, propelling me to launch my patent pending jean with adjustable waist, the Cenia Combi jean, on HSN in the past July. Very successfully, due mostly by the immense support I received from countless Latinas and Latina organizations such as Power in Heels. My dear fellow women and Latinas, I want to thank Yvette Mayo for inviting me as your keynote speaker and for this amazing award. I'm so honored and humbled. And I hope that my story inspires you and that it helps you to find the courage to believe in yourselves with every cell of your bodies and to take risks. To not wait for the circumstances to be perfect. Yes, it is good to have a plan and to be prepared, but don't wait until everything is perfect, for that day may never come. Take action in educating yourselves, in developing the skills so you can be competitive and thrive. Go out there and seek those opportunities. And if they aren't presented to you, create your own opportunities. Don't let anyone determine your future. Take your future into your own hands. I hereby tell you that if I was able to do it, despite my humble beginnings and all my setbacks, so can you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, amiga, gracias. Gracias for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing all of this with all of us. I know that I was inspired. I hope that everyone who's watching and tuning in just really just follow the story from Las Piedras till now. And thank you. I think what I want to celebrate in you is your power of choice, that you never gave up on your purposeful dream and you took risk and you made whatever sacrifice you needed to. But I think most importantly that you recognize the value of the power of choice and you chose you over everything. And I just want you to know that took courage, and I just admire that in you, and I'm just so proud of you. I am so proud of you, and I'm so thankful that you were here to share this message with everyone. So everyone, I hope wherever you are that you are applauding too this amazing message from this amazing woman. Imelda, what do you have to say to our Cenia?
First of all, thank you. Gracias. One of the reasons that we always have and we're seeking, people like you is because we need to hear it. I need to hear it, right? We go day in and day out and we live and we deal and we take care of, and we forget that in order for my granddaughter to be okay, I must be okay if I'm providing something. And for you to come in and share your story, it's inspirational because what it does, it just helps me. It reminds me, right? It reminds me that I matter. It reminds me that I'm important. And it reminds me that there's so many women like us and that we need to help each other. But it starts with that. It starts with believing in self. And if you ever doubt that, know that there are other women out there that'll remind you just how amazing you are. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Cenia, you what can I say? I think following your story, and we all have humble beginnings. We all struggle with where we are sometimes and what's happening to us. We make decisions because of culture, family, and we all get it. But I think what I love hearing about you is that regardless of whatever obstacle you found or came across, you found a way around it, over it, through it, or you found a way of just basically just destroying it and just making your way through. So thank you for sharing that inspirational story. So with that said, Imelda, do you think it's time? Should we do it now?
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
So I want to, on behalf of the Power on Heels board, executive board, and our advisory board, we want to make sure that we let you know that we think that you are a powerful mujer, a powerful Latina. So we would like to honor you with this year's Power Heel Award for the
Oh my
Power
God.
Latina. Here we go.
Oh my God. Thank
Yes,
you so much.
you inspire us in so many ways, and thank you for sharing your story today. But most importantly, thank you for being a powerful Latina. So please.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so honored. I mean, I didn't expect this. Thank you so, so much, Yvette. I mean, it means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yay! Thank you. Thank you. And we will make sure we get this in your hands. In spite of whatever challenges we may have, this will be in your beautiful hands here shortly. So with all of
Thank you
that,
so much.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Imelda, and thank you, Prince, and thank you, Cenia. All right, everyone, we are coming down to our closing elements of our program. Wasn't she inspiring? My heart is so full. My heart is so full. We've been working on this for what seems to be months, and here we are in the final few minutes. But I want to just take an opportunity just to share with you what this day means, not only to myself, but our community, because we've been able to do so much. But I think the first thing I want to do is starts with my just be in a place of gratitude and thank everyone that was part of this program. It's going to start with a very special young lady, and her name is Maria Duran. You know, you are everything. You've helped put this together with your creative, calm spirit and also your patience. And I have to tell you, you're everything. And also a big thank you to all our amazing sponsors. And Maria, if you could share that slide with everybody just one more time, please. It's important to know that these sponsors each contribute and have made a difference in what we do and allow us to do what we've been able to do throughout this award, but throughout this throughout this event, but also throughout the year. So it starts with our amazing partner, Paula Mendoza, and Possible Missions as our title sponsor. Your generosity changed lives today, so thank you. To each sponsor who has contributed and made a difference at our power level and our silver level, thank you, because you continue to support our mission, and I can't thank you enough. And let's talk a little bit about our wonderful speakers who kicked it off for us today with Felicen and Patricia. Their message touched us all. And I think it's important for us to thank them and stay connected to them through their organizations. And and what's so important now is understanding that you have the ability to stay connected to them and their organizations and the work they do throughout the country and within our community. So please, I want to encourage you to connect with these ladies on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on all your social media. Stay connected because they're doing valuable work. They have their leadership programs. They're promoting Latinas and Latinos throughout the country that you need to connect to. Remember the value of networking. Use this opportunity to reach out to these amazing, amazing ladies. Muchas gracias. And I want to send you all a big virtual hug for being here today. But also to our 6 Power Heal Award recipients, thank you for your leadership legacy that you continue to lead in all areas of our community. You continue to be mentors, you set examples, but most importantly, you are paving a way for all of us. So thank you for continuing your legacy, your leadership legacy. So thank you to all 6 of our Power Heal winners, and also our scholarships. Those stories, those young women, they shared their hearts with us today. And we are so proud that we're able to sponsor them and help them to get to that next level. Also, all 17 Latina scholarship recipients, you all are deserving of this. And we're so glad that we're able to help you. Now, I want you to remember, we expect you to soar. Not only do we expect you to soar, but we expect you to share with us your successes so we can continue to shout out the difference that you are making in the communities that you are wanting to be part of. Also, to our amazing, amazing keynote speaker, Cenia, amiga, I've been a fan. You know, I found you 8 years ago. I showed up at your fashion show here in Houston. I got there early. I got there so early, they were still setting up for the runway for the show. And I got a chance to walk up to her and introduce myself to her. And I've been a fan ever since. You continue to make me proud of your determination, your heart, everything you accomplish, your tenacious spirit, your just everything that you do. So muchas gracias. And thank you for being our Power Latina for 2020. So as we look at those, as we look at the future, 2021 is just 6 weeks away. And we are beginning to plan what is hopefully going to be another successful year. It will be our 3rd year in existence because this is our 2nd full year as a nonprofit organization here in Houston. We set out with a wonderful plan, and then COVID happened, and we had to pivot quickly, and we moved our programs online. We managed to put 17 programs online, everything from Facebook Power Connects to our COVID Financial Summit to our Latina Power Purse program and other programs to make sure that we brought value to our members. So we're hoping to continue that same type of programming in 2021. But we're going to be focused more on making sure that we bring programming that continues to advocate for the social inequity of gender pay gap inequity, but also to help Latinas become confident leaders and that they can continue to advocate and negotiate for themselves. So some of the courses and things that you'll see in 2021 will not only be the kickoff of our mentorship program, but also the opportunity to be involved in programs that are centered around topics such as conflict resolutions, negotiations, emotional intelligence, financial mastery, and all those things that we feel are necessary to help you become more confident and powerful in your space. Our goal is to continue to build confident, powerful Latina leaders. So as you can, if you like more information about what we're doing, I want to encourage you, please stay connected. This is what we do. You've heard it throughout this program. The power and the value of networking. So follow us on all our social media platforms. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. But definitely stay connected. Join our newsletter and come to our Power on Heels website at poweronheelsfund.org. And there you will see all our scheduled programs and everything that will be kicking off in January. We're looking forward to continuing to make a difference and making this community stronger than ever before. It is our time. You've heard it from the very beginning, and we'll continue to say that now. We need to become bolder. We need to be able to use our power, not only to ask, but to also make better choices for ourselves, our future, our families, and our communities. So what can I say? I'm speaking from my heart, and I'm looking down to see all the things that we want to make sure that that I want to highlight. But I want you to remember that in these difficult times that we have choices to make, and we all need to make a difference. And it reminds me of one of my most special favorite quotes, which is by Mahatma Gandhi, which is, "Be the change you want to see in the world." So I hope that today inspired you. I hope that today empowered you to continue to set the legacy forward that you want to see in the world, not only for yourself, but everyone who's watching. So from all of us here at Power on Heels Fund Incorporated, I want to thank you from our executive board, our advisory board, all our volunteers, and also all our members, but also from me, from my heart, de corazón. I want to wish you continuous blessings. I want you to always feel that you are part of a community. And please, please continue to understand and remember something really, really important, that you are Power on Heels.